The views and comments expressed on the following radio program by its hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect the views of rmconair.com or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
'Cause I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. Because I got to have faith. I got to have faith.
Okay, that's it, man. You got to have faith. Welcome to Faith. That's the name of the show. And it's sponsored by Pitbull Energy Drink. So let's get a shot at Pitbull, and then I'm going to explain about this plaque that just has the simple word faith on it. And I came across it during my move. And, okay, I found this along with another plaque I'm going to show you in a 99-cent store, on the one on Hollywood Boulevard by, like, Santa Monica. And I never go in there. I don't know why I went in there. I'm not sure why I was in that area. I lived in the Valley, where I no longer live. Well, I kind of do. I'll be staying with some friends in Burbank, but I've been going through a lot of changes. Anyway, I saw this. It was at 99 cents. I wish I knew who created it. I don't like to not give credit where credit's due, but if anyone knows, really, it was just, I saw it for 99 cents. I thought, I need to wake up and look at that every day, because the grief I'd created for myself, to me, the only answer was to keep having faith to move on. People say keep the faith. You got to keep the faith, that you got to keep moving forward. And you just, you feel like giving up when it gets really bad, when times get tight. Then there was this one, and this is, I believe, it is a scripture, Hebrews. And again, I'm not a big Bible guy. I don't know the Bible all that well, but this is pretty cool. Faith is being sure of what you lose hope for and certain of what you do not see. Faith is being sure of what you lose hope for and certain of what you do not see. One of the reasons they call it blind faith, I guess. And those that are against God and Christianity and the Bible, and they hate Christians. And I actually had one guy that I was dealing with that I worked with years ago, found me on Facebook. I made some comment about, how faith had saved me. And he actually sent me a private message. He told me faith is stupid. And I just told him, you're toxic. I don't need this in my life. Please be gone. If you think faith is stupid, that's your business. Good luck to you. How anyone gets through this life without faith, I don't know. And I'm not talking about faith in Jesus necessarily, or faith in the Buddha, or faith in God. Just some kind of faith in something, faith in yourself, faith in the universe, faith that things will work out. And on that note, I wanted to read something, because I subscribe to an app on Facebook. It's called Today's Message from God or something, Message from God. And they always say, today, they personalize it. And when you check it, when you get it, it'll say, today, Howie, we believe God wants you to know that, ... And then there's a main thing. And sometimes the main thing is simple. There's beauty all around you. It's like, yeah, I know. I ate mushrooms when I was 20. I know. Right now, my focus is on getting a big chunk of money, not so much the beauty. But whatever. I want to see the beauty around me. But this one was so timely, because I recently left my home. I had a home for 8 years. I rented. I loved that home. I threw legendary, amazing parties there. Then I had to get out. Evil Russian dentist landlord, just nasty, truly an emissary of Satan. I really believe that to be true. And he's at risk if they ever tell me I have 3 days to live because of an inoperable brain tumor. I can't guarantee anyone I won't take him with me, be it the Christian thing to do or not. That guy was nasty. And so anyway, the message I got yesterday on this Message from God thing was, today, Howie, we believe God wants you to know that you need to have faith. I just started this show 4 weeks ago, and I just thought, because faith has carried me through so much adversity, I felt the responsibility to go ahead and take advantage of this situation I got here at RMC and share this show. And I've had guests, but this time I want to talk about some things that have been happening to me, so I don't have any guests today. But this is what it says. No matter how deep the abyss or how powerful the storm you face, everything can change for the better in a day, a moment, or an instant. Hold on and know that your current circumstances will pass. Now, that's said by people that believe in Jesus or God or the Bible. It could be scoffed at by many. But, there's an old saying in Buddhism, this too shall pass. That's not scoffed at. And then when the Christians talk about Satan and God at work battling within you, that, we each have good and evil always at odds within us, that gets scoffed scoffed at. Yet when you see that American Indian fable or tale, whatever, posted on Facebook with the old chief talking to the young warrior saying, we each have two wolves inside of us. One is filled with envy, resentment, jealousy, fear, anger, hatred. The other's got love, understanding, tolerance, forgiveness, patience, And when the young warrior says, well, how do you know which wolf is going to win? The old chief says, the one that you feed, my son. And so that's looked at as like being really cool and really hip and really happening because it was Native American. But if any kind of minister or pastor says, Jesus is battling Satan inside of you, and I'm not saying this is going on, I'm just saying that this is one of the things they talk about in these churches. And Joel Osteen, who just saved the day for me, lifted my spirits, really inspired me. He talks about the enemy. He's not that big on mentioning Satan. But again, I know many people that would just scoff at that, while at the same time thinking it was really cool about that Native American tale. So I think all of us know that we do have things inside of us where we can get the real nastiness, and it's our conscious duty and obligation, if we really are conscious growing adults, to try to keep our focus on the present, on being forgiving, on being tolerating, at least understanding, learning some patience. Took me a long while, believe me. I was very reactive. Used to have a thing right next to my bedroom door that said, when upset, bide your time, and everything will become clear, then you can act accordingly. Because I used to be a very reactive individual, and now I'm different, and that's one of the reasons why. Now, one other thing, a lot of people going through hard times, man. I know I was, faith carried me through a major change in life just now. I say I had that house for 8 years. We got pushed out 3 doors away. It was like a miracle. It was like in the space of these 3 houses was a cosmic battle of good and evil. This Russian Jewish dentist, and I'm New York Jewish, this guy, Mamaglia, and I'll say his name because, and I do believe, I believe he is evil, and I'll say it right to his face, and I'll say it in a court of law. I believe he is an emissary of Satan. He is the nastiest piece. I've come across some nasty pieces of work in my day in this city. Never anything like this. He pushed us out of that house with no compassion, no understanding, nothing. My landlords prior to that were very cool. And 3 doors away was a little old Chinese man that didn't ask me for my credit, didn't ask me if I had a job, just took, $4,600 and moved us in halfway through the month. And I was able to get 3 thou out of the evil Russian. And I'm not saying all Russians were evil. This one is, and I believe he is. And so that was like a miracle. That was a miracle. And that was all the while we were getting pushed out. I was uncertain, where we were going to go. We didn't have much money to work with. It was a lot of stuff, 2 dogs, a cat. And what did I have? I had faith. I just kept telling myself every day, I'm going to have faith that something's going to work out. I used to walk my dog past that house. It was empty for a couple of months. I couldn't imagine I could get in there at $2,400 a month in the situation I was in with these 2 roommates I had and blah, 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 blah. But just like that, just in a moment, it changed. When I talked to the landlord that day, he took me to breakfast at Norm's. He put his hand on my chest. He said, we are friends now. We must help each other. Came by a couple of times, took me to sushi. The first 2 times I paid him the rent, took me to sushi. This guy saved 100 Vietnamese refugees. So that, to me, was a manifestation of faith. And more recently, I was out of car. I had put $750 into this 2003 Chevy Impala I had. I'd had it for a year. I had to put $750 in it. I bought it for $2,500. It got towed because the guy I bought it from bought it at auction, didn't do right by me, didn't get me the tags. So the meter maids see it on the street without the tags. They tow it. That was $400. Then I get it back, and then he finally gets it done right. This guy was an idiot. I won't say it was a nasty piece of work, but I will say he was an idiot who didn't know what he was doing. And then I have to put $750 because of a gasket issue, and the car keeps running hot. I have to stop every 10 minutes and put water in it. And it's ridiculous. I'm a grown man. These things are supposed to be over. So then that car, after putting $750 in it, I don't know, 4 months ago, the transmission goes. I'm not going to spend $1,200 to fix the transmission on a 2003 Chevy Impala, although I did like that car. Instead, I just let it go, got $300 for it on the junk, and got 2. It's funny because I'm kind of transitioning. I don't like to say I'm homeless. I'm without a home, but I've been staying. My friends have reached out. It's been really, beautiful and miraculous, and some really good things are coming. I have no doubts about this. Why? Because I have faith. Okay, so I was offered $300 for my junk Impala from numerous places, but one offered me $275 plus a 1-week voucher to stay in a hotel 8 days, 7 nights. And then there was some delay in getting everything done, and the girl says, you know what, to make up for this, I'm going to give you a second voucher. So I thought for $25 less in the situation I'm in, the uncertainty of where I'm going to live, you know, I got a place in Burbank. My friend, God bless him, I'm godfather to his children. His wife has been nothing but hospitable and warming. When he first met his wife, he and I were roommates. I'm going to stay in a very nice home for like a month. I have somewhere to stay and land and collect my thoughts and decide what I'm going to do in terms of work and generating cash and all this stuff and finding another place. My dog is safe at a friend's house in a backyard. I mean, I've really been blessed in this transition. And again, I come back to it's because I've insisted on having faith that all these things will work out. So regarding the car, I'm like, well, I might as well take vouchers for hotel stays because I might need them because I don't know what's going on. I've never been in such an uncertain situation. I always had money flowing through my pocket. I always had somewhere secure to live. So this has been a big, big thing. And then I had to rent a car. You can't be in L.A. without a car. Plus, I was going back and forth. I was staying in Santa Monica, and I lived in the Valley. I had to go back and get stuff out of the house. I mean, I had to have a car. There's no going on buses. So I rented a car. And I rented that car for 2 weeks and 2 days. And I kept posting on Facebook in the market for a cheap car. I was getting ready to buy a 2002 Crown Victoria, the old police cars with the spotlights on the sides. The guy wanted $2,000 originally. Within a week, he dropped it to $1,500. I was ready to go see him on July 4th and offer $1,200 cash. But Fiat wouldn't give him the in Santa Monica where I was staying. He went to the Fiat dealer, and they wouldn't give him the financing he wanted. So I couldn't get the car that day. So I had to keep the rental car 2 more days. At that point, I'm putting on Facebook, looking for a car on the cheap. I hear from a lady who I haven't even met in person, only know on Facebook. I've met her husband in person when I produced a comedy show down in Orange County at a restaurant in Orange, I don't know how many years ago. And this guy beat back cancer twice. These are good people, you know, righteous Christian souls. And her dad had died a year ago, and they've had this Cadillac. They've had this Cadillac, a 97 Cadillac, that the last 7 years of his life, her dad put 1,000 miles a year on. All total, it's got 62,000 miles. Okay, it's an average of 5,000 miles a year. It's primo, perfect, mint condition. The AC, you can hang meat in there. The interior is gorgeous. And the color of the car is gold. So, you know, the hand of God swept me into a car. So whenever I'm driving, I'm surrounded by gold. So that's a good thing. I take that as a good omen. So anyway, they were kind enough. They were willing to. They could sell that car tomorrow with no problem for 5 Gs, cash money, no problem. But they were willing to work with me, $800 down, and make payments as I can, and that was nothing short of a miracle. I am now driving a really nice-looking Cadillac, which I belong in, which I feel I belong in, and it's a good it's a good success exercise. It's not a brand-new Caddy. It's not a brand-new Rolls-Royce, but I'll be honest with you. I've had new cars in my day. I had good credit years ago, but I never drove a car this nice. So I just want to say that car came to me, and no one's going to tell me different. I know plenty of atheists because I'm in the world of comedy. I know people that hate God, that hate Christians, that hate the Bible. I understand all that. But again, I state to you now with clear and equivocal truth, I firmly believe without question that car came to me because of the strength of my faith. On that, we're going to take a break. Thank you.
Hey, are you tired of those same old energy drinks with bad taste? Make a switch to Pit Bull Energy Drink with a guaranteed no aftertaste. Pit Bull offers more energy with ginseng and vitamins B6 and B12. With a ginger ale lemon lime flavor, Pit Bull meets the consumer's demand for better tasting and healthier energy products with a guaranteed no aftertaste. Make a switch to Pit Bull Energy Drink. Pit Bull offers more energy with ginseng and vitamins B6 and B12. With a ginger ale lemon lime flavor, Pit Bull meets the consumer's demand for better tasting and healthier energy products. For more information on Pit Bull energy drinks, bars, and mixes, visit their website at hiphopbev.com. That's hiphopbev.com. Online orders available at hiphopbev.com.
All righty, so we get the camera on the faith flags. I really like that, by the way. And again, I don't really know the Bible that well. I was raised New York Jewish, and we only went to the synagogue on the high holidays. And I hated the rabbi. He just made us feel bad. I thought he was a horrible man. And I rejected Judaism because of it. And I also rejected it when I got out of New York at 19. I walked the beach in Santa Barbara for 8 hours under the influence of psilocybin mushrooms, and it just like wide opened my mind. And some people could say it's not valid, but it doesn't matter. Each person has their own personal experience. They know what's real for them, what's not. And my mind opened, and I understood that I didn't adhere to that particular belief system. It didn't matter to me if I ate meat with milk. God wasn't going to punish me. They were very big on punishment and shame. It was really horrible. I didn't like it, but that's not to say I wouldn't take arms to defend Israel. I would do that today, right now, if they called me and said, we need you here. So I just want to be clear on that. But I didn't become a born-again Christian. I don't have any labels. I just learned. My father was a screepeater. I mentioned this last week, a screaming repeater. He repeated many, many things, work hard and sacrifice, companionship, save for the future. But one thing he repeated that I got lucky on was he was always screaming, you got to have faith, just like George Michael sings. And somewhere that got tattooed on my brain, and I've created a lot of adversity for myself. I grew up with, I don't know what it was about the neighborhood. I grew up with nice white middle-class Jewish mainly. There was some Irish and Italian, but at least 40 people out of that neighborhood, if not 45, are dead from the abuse of drugs and alcohol. And I seem to have tried to destroy myself with the financial mismanagement abuse. And yet I'm still standing. And I discovered the smiling minister Joel Osteen through Drew Carey, who I saw on Larry King, who Larry King asked him, was it true you were going to go kill yourself 2 different times in Vegas? This is before he was famous. He said, yes, it is true. How did you get from there to here? At the time, he had like 3 shows on TV, 3 hit shows. And he said, I read all those books. I read all those positive, personal growth, personal development, Anthony Robbins, all that stuff. And I thought, you know what, if it's good enough for Drew Carey, it's good enough for me. Because I was in quite despair. I owed a lot of money. I was in a bad way. And that's where I discovered Joel Osteen, and I thought, this is like the easiest way. I'm pretty lazy by nature, really. So anytime I watch Joel, I come away feeling good. My spirits are lifted, and he talks about faith a lot, of course. And this whole concept of faith is being sure of what you lose hope for. I always believed I'd be a multimillionaire, and it's shocking to me that I'm not. Did I lose hope for it? No, I'm in L.A. Anything can happen. And I'm not, no bragging here, but I do have talent. I've performed for years professionally, and I'm good with people. And, I can have a likability if I want it, So why shouldn't I have my prosperity and therefore being able to help others? And I'm a big dog lover, big dog advocate, animal advocate. I'm not a vegan. But domesticate, let's say dogs and cats. I hate to see things on Facebook, these poor dogs, they're getting killed every day in the shelters. If I had millions, like Sam Simon, I believe it is, who helped create The Simpsons, he's given away a fortune. Poor guy is dying of pancreatic cancer, but he gave away a fortune to help animals. And so anyway, being sure of what you lose hope for and certain of what you do not see. That's a powerful statement to me, man. That's just a powerful statement. And I'd rather subscribe to that statement than some of the things I hear some bitter people in L.A. say, and people that are really down on God and down on faith. It's like, it's toxic. And if anyone that might be watching this or listening, seeing this and that knows me on Facebook and wants to tell me I'm an idiot for having a show called Faith, or there's no such thing as faith and blind faith is silly, and I don't, save it. If you got nothing nice to say about what I'm being passionate about here, just say nothing. Just leave me be. If you hate God, I understand. It's a hard world, and I can understand why people hate God. I can understand why they're atheists. And I've said to them all, I understand, but I don't want to get in an argument. It's a waste of time. My personal experience, they haven't walked in my shoes. They haven't lived my life. They haven't seen the miracles I've seen happen. They haven't had the support I've had. So, I've been blessed with phenomenal people around me that have come to my aid in a huge way in this big change of life. I've never been evicted. I let myself get evicted because I was living with a roommate that was never going to leave me. He was never going to leave. And the house was filled with his junk. My front yard was filled with his junk. He had owned a motorcycle shop. He was just never going to go. He was never going to make the money to enable him to go. If had I the money, I would have given him 10, 20 grand and sent him on his way. But in the end, this whole thing has been good. This whole thing has been really good. But I wanted to say, regarding this faith thing, that car that I described, There's no question in my mind. I mean, that was a miracle, and it came to me through faith. Like I said, they could have taken $5,000. They could have gotten $5,000 at any time for that car, and I didn't get to meet the lady yet. I still only know her from Facebook, but her husband I had met. He beat back cancer twice, and I went down to Orange to see him, gave him $800, and he told me, his wife, when they were deciding, was she sentimentally attached to it because it was her dad's? What are they going to do with it? She said if she does sell it, she wants to be able to help someone. That's what she wanted to do. And I can't begin. There are no words to describe how much these people have helped me. I was without a car doing what I do in L.A., and I'm going to probably start doing background work to generate some cash. You can't take the buses to do background work. So anyway, Faith brought me that car because one of the things, I've always had luck with cars. When my cars have died, friends have given me cars, lent me cars, made deals with me on cars. And this time I went 2 weeks and 2 days without a car. I didn't know what was going to happen. And at one point I was living with my girlfriend. My car died, but she had her car from work, and we just, I had a car. I always had a car available to me. I always used to have a backup vehicle and a motorcycle, and I will have that again as soon as I can. But here's the deal. If what I do with this show, if anybody hears it, if one person who's deciding they've had enough, they're in the great despair, they're thinking of opting out, they're thinking of returning to 20 Vicodins a day or a bottle of vodka a day, or they just, can't take it anymore. If just one person feels like, man, that guy Howie, that stuff he had to say, it's really turned my head around, and I'm going to go ahead and have faith. And I'm just going to have faith that things are going to work out, and things work out, then I'll be happy. I'll be very happy if that happens. I want to say, I've been doing this for years, and actually Joel Osteen says to do this. There's inspiration everywhere, in movies, on TV, in songs. It's everywhere. And, I'm a writer down of quotes. I have been writing down quotes for years. So this was from CSI, the original CSI TV show. This takes place in a church. It's a funeral or a memorial service, whatever. The head lieutenant, his ex-wife is murdered. And I love that show. Anyway, they were still kind of close, whatever. And the pastor or the minister says this, okay? And I wrote this down because this really struck me. Even in a moment of immeasurable sorrow, and my immeasurable sorrow has been in the loss of money. I won 2 game shows. I blew my money time and time again. That was immeasurable sorrow. That's when I thought about killing myself. That's when men think about killing themselves, when they lose all their money. That's one of the times. Even in a moment of immeasurable sorrow, and I've been in such moments, and most people have, for one reason or another, we're given a choice between the hopelessness of despair and the everlasting promise of faith. The everlasting promise of faith. Faith that there is a plan, and that in times of doubt, God will speak to us in a voice that is clear and true. Doubt, I did psychedelics when I was younger. I was in a certain generation. And I said I ate mushrooms on the beach, and it totally altered my life. And one thing I saw, and by the way, all indigenous tribes across the world utilize what are called the food of the gods. In the Amazon rainforest, in the hills of the mountains of Peru, and Native Americans here in America, they eat peyote. They all are doing things to try to grow spiritually. They want to see the face of God. They want to find their animal guide, whatever. So, I'm not telling any kids to do this. I'm just saying that for me, it had a very profound effect on my life. And one thing I learned when I had those experiences was I had a sense of such great certainty that I wasn't alone, that there was a greater power, and that greater power loved me, unconditionally, and was there to serve me and support me and help me. And I was raised by a very crazy dad. My dad had a lot of insecurities, and he was a very pressured man financially, and he wasn't like the most confident guy, and so I had a lot of self-doubt, and that's when I understood this concept of the devil and the enemy. Doubt and shame and guilt over wanting to feel good, that's the enemy. Faith wants you to be joyous, man. Faith wants you to all things to be well and good. So I'm driving a beautiful Cadillac because of my faith. I'm not where I used to live. I walked my dogs in that park, and I saw homeless people. And I knew when I was getting evicted, oh, my God, I'm going to be a homeless person. But I'm not homeless like they are, because my faith led me in this town to some magnificent, incredible people. And I spent the first week when I was left my house with a friend who said, you bring your dog with you and don't worry about it. I stayed 8 days with him. Then I left him to stay at my friend's apartment because he went away for 2 weeks. And my dog stayed for 5 days at the other guy's house because I couldn't bring him with me to this apartment. And I can't bring him to where I'm going to be staying in Burbank with my good friend and his family, who I'm godfather to the children. And they're just incredible people, and I have a nice space and a private entrance, and it opens to the backyard, and I mean, I'm just blessed, and my dog is still safe, and I have a rescue gal working on maybe getting him to a farm in Oregon, and I'm convinced that Merlin, the magical pit bull, that's how Pitbull Comedy Jam came to be, he will wind up staying with me if it's meant to be. I'll work something out and I'll find a place to live, or he'll go where he'll be happier, because that dog loves a lot of space. And if I can get him to Oregon on a farm or ranch, I will. How does people say to me, it's funny when I tell people I got the car, some of the reactions I get from friends that work really hard. I have a lot of friends that really, they're hard workers, they're family men, they got to do the work. And they're really grounded in this hardcore reality. And they tell me they remember when I was a great waiter. And I tell them, I'm struggling on the money, things are not. 5 people said, why don't you go back and be a waiter? And I had to say, listen, do me a favor. I love you, but don't ever bring that up again. That's the end of all hope. Not that there's any shame in waiting tables, but that's behind me. That's done. My faith tells me something will come along that'll work out for me. I'm not sure what it is. And one of the things I love about Joel Osteen, he says, it's not our part to figure out how it's going to happen. It's just our part to believe. And it's like the Wizard of Oz, click your heels and just believe. Now, this ain't The Secret, and this ain't pie in the sky fantasy talk. You got to do more than just believe. You've got to apply action. And my sitting here right now doing the podcast, this podcast and the one I did before at Pitbull Comedy Jam, this one's called Faith. I made what I felt was a very gutsy decision in this town to get in front of a camera and talk about faith, because Hollywood's not that big on God, although when the Bible miniseries ran, the rest of the country, 20 million viewers, something like that. So, people want faith. They want to believe there's something more than just this, and I don't understand people that don't, but I don't need to understand them. I can accept them, and I can respect that they believe what they believe. I just ask that they respect that I believe what I believe. And so if there's anyone seeing this or watching this that thinks I'm a nut because I've decided to do a podcast called Faith and I believe in faith, then, defriend me on Facebook. I don't need your nasty comments. I don't need your toxic responses. If you can respect that see things differently than you, if we can agree to disagree, fantastic. If we can't, then there's no reason for us to talk. I have no room in my life for any toxicity right now. No room in my life for negativity. I need only people that lift me up and that believe in me and that are strong in faith, because I need to make some big changes. So, that's where I'm at. And I'm not the only one like this. I know there's 11 million unemployed, more. There are people going through some hard times. What carries you through? Faith. My guest that I had a couple of weeks ago, Sonia, she's a singer, songwriter, black girl. She said that the slaves sang gospel music or, the hymns, whatever they sang while they were on the chain gang, to give secret messages to how to get to the Underground Railroad. And that music they created, what do you do in that situation? I think I got it bad. I got money problems or whatever. I'm not sure where I'm going to live. They were enslaved. They sang and they kept their faith. They kept their faith up. So, look, there was a story about a woman that gave birth in a treetop during that tsunami. So, all I can say is I'd rather have faith than not. And I'd rather my faith be radical, unyielding, unrelenting, unassailable, undeniable, unbreakable, and unwavering. And I'd rather it just be blind. It makes sense to me. So on that note, thank you for listening. Keep the faith. Take care. God bless you all.
I gotta have faith.